Well, what's going on, guys? MC333 back at it again with another one. And today we're going to talk about the new moon in Sagittarius. And it's a little bit of a cusp. Sagittarius, a little bit of Capricorn energy involved in there as well. But with that being said, we're just going to talk about the Sag, cover that, and then go into the cusp energy a little bit.
I know that I'm a foreign star. If you might type, I'll make you mine. If they ain't showing no love, I don't let it get to my mind. And I begin to it with my craft divine. I claim what's mine. I can't play all of those games. I to protect my time. I know that I'm a foreign star.
But for the most part, this whole cycle right now, that's where the moon is showing itself at the end of the sun transit period, which is interesting because it's kind of reminding us where the sun was at. So it's a good thing to see right now. You know what I mean? So this kind of introduction, and you guys can expect to learn a lot here. So there's going to be some information. We're going to go over a little bit of tarot, a little bit of the Sag energy, and what that means for you. So the new moon in Sag, to be honest, just guys, you got to keep in mind that new moons are new beginnings, setting intentions. Whatever you're doing around this time is going to be planting the seeds and planting seeds of your intentions. So be mindful of the actions that you're taking and what you're actually starting. Be mindful. If you're going to start anything right now or had anything in mind to actually start, this is a good window of opportunity to start that or bring that to fruition. Always remember that new moon in Sag, it's going to be asking you to take that leap, take that risk, go for that adventure. Be optimistic, keep the mindset optimized. You know what I mean? So you're optimizing for learning, optimizing for expansion. Remember that Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So you're constantly expanding your horizons, no matter where that is. And if you know your house system in astrology, where's Sagittarius energy for you specifically, and you'll see where in your life you need to expand or where you should be a little bit more optimistic, and where you maybe even need to gear up in terms of learning, and even maybe take a travel, relocate in that area that maybe it may gain you a lot of wisdom. It may gain you a lot of maybe more, or you're maybe going to be expanding your status. Maybe you're going to be expanding yourself. Maybe you're expanding your health. Maybe you're expanding your relationships, right? So these are different areas of life that it plays out differently for everyone. So make sure you know your birth chart. And if you don't, make sure to book a reading down below and we'll be able to do that for you. So that way you have that on hand. So remember that the new moon influences the collective, and this is a clean slate time. This is where the cycles reset and where new seeds are planted. So be mindful of that time. Remember that the new moon influences the collective. So around this time, people who want to be, who are kind of washed up under the current, they're going to feel the fire because taking that adventure is what's going to make them feel something, because the new moon is a time to plant that seed, right? So if you're not the one collectively or intentionally planting the seed or shaping how you want to expand, a lot of people may just expand or just take some quick action over here or go fulfill a desire over here to just get some sort of feeling, and they're not going to understand that that's planting a seed and that's going to expand in a negative mannerism. So it can play out either or, depending on the polarity, on the percentage scale of what you're actually doing. So remember that the new moon is a new beginning, but it doesn't mean that it's a good new beginning for everyone. And if you're not aware of the actions that you're taking around this time, what you're taking is going to dictate your mood. So how the actions you're taking is what's going to dictate your mood. So how you act and what you act on is going to shape how you feel moving forward. And as this feeling grows, it's going to grow more. So you're not going to feel it maybe now or a week from now, but as the days from now and this follows, you're going to feel that accumulating, and that you'll feel that emotion growing and realizing, well, damn, that was something you should have never actually done. That was an action you should have never actually acted on. And maybe you should have been a little bit more intentional. And that's where it's going to command you. And that's where it can play out a little bit negative, building up towards the full moon, to where, boom, that's a little bit, that gets played out to where it's released or it gets illuminated. But even then, the Sagittarius energy, it's not going to play out in 2 weeks that follows with the full moon, because it's not going to be the corresponding full moon. So this corresponding full moon, it's going to be a 6 month that follows. So it's a polarity. So every time we have a full moon, it's opposite where the sun is at, right? So we're going to have a full moon, for example, the full moon in Sagittarius, the new moon in Sagittarius.
That's a great start. You've got a lot of
playing out in, sorry guys, ChatGPT. The new moon in Sagittarius is going to be playing out in a few different ways. But remember that the seeds that you plant now is going to be reaping full moon in Gemini, guys. So be mindful of that, because it's always going to play out opposite. So when the sun is when we get into Gemini season, we're going to have a full moon in Sagittarius. And that's where the seeds you plant now is going to come out around that time. And that's where you may notice false communication, false people intertwining, false connections and things like that based upon seeds that you may have planted for the sake of adventure or new beginnings or optimism for the in Sag season right now. So be mindful of that, and that's how things accumulate and how you can end up missing shifts farther down the line. So best thing to prepare for this new moon, it's great to definitely set intentions. So journaling, meditating, decluttering, clearing the space. Just it's a good time for cleansing and clearing your energy. So always be open to clear and let go and release, right? So where and what area do you need to actually, that way you can actually develop a clean slate and develop some pure intentions to understand how you want to maneuver and where you want to go emotionally, right? What actually is pulling you to, and what's actually calling you emotionally to expand, and how you can expand, right? What is the actions you can take, that the mindset you can take, and the emotions you hold to lead, that leads to optimism, that leads to learning, that leads to growth, that leads to expansion, right? Those are the emotions you want to get tapped in with, and sometimes cleansing the space and your environment helps you do that. Journaling is a good practice just to get pen to paper and understand your emotions and understand the direction you actually want to go. Be clear with your goals and be clear with the directions, be clear with your vision, be clear where you want to actually expand in your life. And even if you don't have your birth chart and you don't know what house you have Sagittarius in, it's good to sometimes sit with yourself and take notes and just say, you know what, where do I actually want to expand? Where do I need to focus up right now? Whether it's my routine, whether it's in my knowledge, whether it's in my mindset, whether it's in my physical body, whether it's in my diet, health, fitness, depending on whatever it is, my network, my associations, my dreams, my subconscious, certain habits, right? So these are all different areas in your life, and this is all playing out through the 12 houses of the zodiac. It's definitely going to be good as well. What I would suggest would be also to harness the Sagittarius energy, so actually embodying it right now. So a lot of what that means is to explore new knowledge, maybe actually relocate or visit new things, see new things, and put yourselves in new environments, setting new goals for yourself. This is about traveling, but not just traveling externally, but also internally. So going within for yourself to actually navigate your internal world. Maybe you need to actually shift something within you, and that is you internally traveling. And that's what getting pen to paper and meditating actually does. It's allowing you to internally shift, right, and see where you're resonating at, and actually understand where you want to actually make that change. So one thing would be, remember that Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, knowledge, wisdom, experience. So sometimes exploring the new experience, and maybe if you're nervous and you see where, oh, you're a little uncomfortable, but it's going to cause a lot of growth. That's a good thing to actually do, and put yourself in to actually explore that experience, because that experience will lead to new knowledge and will lead to new wisdom, right? And that can at least lead you to embracing more optimism and a more optimistic lifestyle. So it'd be a good time as well to also set travel plans. If you're one of those people who travel a lot, you're in business. Some of my clients, they do a lot of business. They're CEOs, they're founders. They do a lot of travel. This is a good time to sit down and calculate some of the travel that you got going on for the next couple months or weeks ahead, guys. So this week you can utilize that time to actually set those travel dates and flight dates and things like that. Remember that in tarot, that the Sagittarius energy represents the Temperance card, and the Temperance in tarot represents Sagittarius energy. And the symbolism, letting you guys know, and this energy in itself, if you guys see the card, I'll put it up on screen somewhere over here. But it's about balance, it's about harmony, it's about patience, it's about being able to fulfill your cups in other ways. The Temperance energy is understanding that a balanced lifestyle is a healthy lifestyle. Being able to pour energy into certain cups when you need it is necessary to actually expand and actually grow, because you can't focus on one thing 100% all the time. Sometimes there's another thing that needs some energy, to where you got to focus on that and pour some of that fulfillment, some of that water, some of that esoteric currency over to this thing, right? So that's what the Temperance card represents. So remember that you have to do that in order to align with the Sagittarius adventurous spirit, because the energy of Sag is so adventurous and it can seem so flighty. To that, even for a lot of Sagittarius who may watch this, you may be used to even starting something and not finishing it, starting this and jumping to the next, or feeling like there's just a bunch of things that you can do and never sticking to one. You'll yourself, that's your downfall, that's your curse. But on the gift side of things, because every sign has a gift and a curse, right? But on the gift, you have the balance, you have the harmony, you have the ability to fulfill certain areas of your life when it's necessary. So that's a good thing to actually implement around this new moon right now. Understand where you need to implement certain balance. If you've been doing something in one way in one area for a certain period of time, and you notice there's a level of energy depleting from another area, and it's causing some sort of disruption, then you have to maybe pause and maybe fulfill some of that a little bit. Maybe do some of that other thing to bring some of that energy back there to keep an overall equilibrium. So that's what helps you be sustainable in terms of mutability. It's to maintain that level of equilibrium moving forward, guys. Temperance represents that and lets me know that you're able to navigate. And it's a reminder that we're able to navigate any storm when we're actually clear-headed, right? So when we're actually in the body of a clear-headed man, when we're embodying that clear-headedness, then we actually become a proper negotiator to where we understand we're negotiating our health right now, we're negotiating our business, we're negotiating ourself, we're putting stabbing us in the back, or we got to move for this right now. It's not a good thing to do within business, so you have to learn to pivot. Adaptability is what leads to longevity. The most longest businesses that become sustainable are the ones who are able to adapt. The individuals that live the longest and things of that nature, they're able to adapt to certain economical and pressures of society, and understand certain societal stresses to adapt to even those things. So you're managing the stress and the pressure of the world, because the level of stress is different than what we used to have from before. So you have to know how to adapt, because you can't do the same things to manage something that's different. You know what I mean? You can't do the same things expecting a different result. Keep that in mind. Moving forward, got to remember that when the moon is in Sag, it promotes a need to explore, to know, and to see a multitude of possibilities, physically as well as emotionally and spiritually. This is search and adventure, not carried out due to circumstances or oppressive aspects with other planets. This person may feel dissatisfied even though they will be cheerful, optimistic, and spontaneous, right? So this is also an important thing to highlight. For when you feel dissatisfied, to not be spontaneous or not be optimistic just for the sake of you being optimistic. If you're dissatisfied, you know where you're feeling dissatisfied, and you need to satisfy that area, satisfy that thing. So where you are dissatisfied, don't act on and be optimistic and waste that esoteric currency in other areas. Just redirect that energy and redirect that fire towards where you're dissatisfied, and actually provide satisfaction for yourself. Because you'll notice you're dissatisfied and still be optimistic, while emotionally, the thing that you're participating in or how you're acting is actually depleting yourself, depleting your esoteric currency, depleting your mindset, depleting your health, etc. So what are you participating in on the percentage level? That's actually depleting your energy. So remember, that's a couple of the main points here. Is just new moon, new emotions, set intentions, new adventures, new beginnings. Cleanse your energy. This is a cycle, and it's a reset. You have about a week period where this portal is open for you to get pen to paper and understand where you want to head, where you want to set new intentions, where you want to set your intentions based upon new beginnings, and what cycles you want to close out. Any cycles you no longer want to participate in, you can get rid of at this point. This is how you're actually moving forward, and this is how you alchemize this moving forward. Meditating, and if you don't know what intentions you want and how you want to move forward emotionally, if you're not someone who's emotionally intelligent or anything like that, go towards an area where you can find mental ease or mental flow. Try to journal and get pen to paper. That's a simple practice, and a lot of people it'll go over a lot of people's heads, but just understanding where you're at mentally and what you want to do, even just writing a sentence to yourself, it'll get you a little bit more clear. And I would prefer you do it pen to paper than on your phone, as it works that much more in terms of the cognitive and subconscious mind. Remember to explore new knowledge. If you're one that doesn't like to learn, now is the time to learn about the things that you like. So in the areas that you need to expand or want to expand, what is that area? And where can you find some knowledge around that? Get some education around that. And if you're creative, guys, and you're looking to scale your business, I'm gonna plug in the short. And guys, whatever you're going through, let me know how you're experiencing this new moon in Sagittarius. Drop your comments and your thoughts, drop your thoughts and comments down below. I'm definitely like to know what you guys think about this new moon and how you're experiencing it, how it's treating you, and what you're going to be doing moving forward to make that change. Appreciate you guys. For all those who have subscribed, support. It means a lot. For those who don't, that's all good. It's MC333. We out of here.
Baby tryna get down, said she fly, but I'm not that guy. And we ride to plane 6th dimension, that's why we caught another flight. Put all this sauce in the game, I know it's hard for them to not fight it. And I told baby, you gotta feel it through in order to get through, don't fight it. If you was aware, would've found your purpose, let go in diamonds. Talking crazy around me, mad at me.